Hi, this is Craig, another mindfulness video here. Who is having all the problems? That's the theme for this video. Now, it's a useful tip. It's a useful thing. Additional to when you have a problem is to take some time to sit and be and ask the question, who is having all these problems? Um, it's good to try and get to an answer because the answer will alleviate and help a lot of your problems, if not all of them. So you have a problem, your mind is playing out the problem, and there's an I. I have a problem. I must try and solve this. I am worried about this. I am bothered by this. I, I. You see? The I, me and my. You've taken ownership of a problem. But who is having the problems? Who is this I? This is the question. And so when we sit and we be and we just sit, we sit in the quiet or we listen to sounds or we breathe, we just come back to ourselves. We come back to the present moment. We come back to the here and the now. You can do it right now. You just put your hand on your chest and follow your breath and just feel your body sitting. Now, if that's happening, then there's no I. The thinking mind disappears for a moment while breathing is happening and awareness is there following the breath. There's awareness of hand on chest, there's an awareness of sounds. While you're tuned in to awareness, the I isn't there because I is a thought. I must do this. I need to do that. These are all thoughts. I have a problem is a thought. Thoughts aren't particularly real. They're just your lower self, your ego. I call it the lower self. There is no lower self really, but it's useful in the context. Being is kind of higher self, is the self, is awareness. Awareness is coming through you. All these little thoughts, they're just thoughts. So who is having the problems? Sit and be and breathe. You keep asking that question. You get to a point where it can be very helpful to ask because you do get to this awareness that the I isn't real. So therefore, if I is having a problem, then it's not actually real. The problem is more made up than reality. What we add in our thinking to a situation is not necessarily reality. It's not what is. And then you get to a point where you're like, well, maybe I just sit with what is. Maybe, let go of I, come into heart, come into being, sit with what is. Because it's all in my mind, in this mind, in my mind, you see? I can't do a thought without I, me, and my. So come back to your breath, come back to sitting, come back to being, come back to listening, being in the quietness. You can listen to bird song, you can walk along a nice beach, listen to the sound of the waves. We can practice mindfulness, we can practice awareness. If there's a big problem in your life, this is a great tool. Ask who is having the problem and sit somewhere quietly and allow things to settle and allow things to be. And you begin to see things from a different understanding. You realize that, yeah, okay, the ego's here and the ego is saying I have a problem. My thoughts are telling me there's a problem. But there's also awareness here too, which isn't telling me there's a problem. It's just observing the mind going off, running here and there and everywhere. So if I can be aware of mind and I can be aware of the thoughts, then I'm not mind or thoughts. So who is having all the problems? So it's a useful tool, and try sitting somewhere and asking that question. You may or may not receive an answer. But it is nudging you to a reality, a more aware existence, a more calm, peaceful place. Sitting with a problem is alleviating the problem, because you're not adding to it with more thoughts about how awful the problem is for me. You're just allowing the problem to exist. You're allowing that low vibrational, that friction to exist. Just watch the friction. Just be. Just come back to your heart. The longer you sit with a particular problem, notice how you feel after you sit with it. You may find the problem disappears, or the problem is eased, or there's a solution that just arrives. Often solutions just arrive. We're not needed to force ourselves into striving or fixing or trying to solve things. If there are things we can do, we'll do them. But if there isn't, there's no point sitting there going, oh, I've got this problem. If there's nothing you can actually do about it in this moment, you can even write a plan about, yeah, I'm going to solve it. I'm going to do this, this, and this. Right. I've written that down. Can I do any of that now? No? Okay. Back to being. Who is having these problems? Just keep re-asking the question. See how this works for you. So, yeah, thank you. It's a very short video today, but that's what I wanted to give you as another tool, another tip, another question to ask. It just kind of interrupts the subconscious. You can get carried away thinking about problems. Try and pause and be with it and look at it from a different way, an awareness way, a non-thinking way, actually, and see what happens. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye bye just now.